first offer is not bad.
Yes, the first offer has me a bit intrigued.
So that was giving up 41 and what, a third?
And
Next year's
third.
Which ultimately...
But CBS Sports did their mock draft, and they have the Bears trading up to number 4, a trade with New England, and landing Abdul Carter. Now, their price here is a first-round swap, so they get 4, New England gets 10, number 41, so one of the second-round picks, and a 2026 third-rounder. PFF also had the Bears landing Abdul Carter. However, for a steeper price, they're going from 10 to 2. Again, it's that first-round pick swap. They're also going to give up number 39, so one of the second-round picks, number 148, and then a 2026 first-round pick.
No.
Yeah, that's what everyone reacted to today on Carmen and Yurko. Like, you still aren't certain. You think that Abdul Carter is going to be great, but you don't know. Like, the package that PFF has, where it's a second, the 39th pick, and next year's number 1,
no chance.
is sort of a package on where you were thinking about for Myles Garrett, a known quantity who's one of the best players in the NFL. I can't do that for a guy that's not a quarterback who I'm not sure is going to. I know you're convicted if you make the trade, but there's still no evidence he's going to be a superstar in the NFL.
Yeah, talk to me, Tyler, having watched him play much more than I and knowing probably more about his foot than me. Do you believe he's a surefire difference maker at the NFL level? I'm going to watch him tonight on film.
I think he's fantastic. Now, the foot is the worry now, but that wasn't something that really hampered him in college. It was the shoulder. Yeah. And he played that playoff game against Notre Dame with one arm and was still a game wrecker. I believe in him at the next level. I don't know if I believe in him in giving up that much capital there.
It's a lot.
Is he Micah Parsons?
Some people have drawn the comparison, but that may be more to do with the alma mater than it does.
No, if he is Micah Parsons, like, that's where you start, and it would take more to get Micah Parsons, but I'm more willing to give up stuff this year's first round, next year's first round, the 39th pick for Micah Parsons, because then you know he's going to be great.
I'm not interested in the second offer that was listed from PFF.
Going to ask, but what about the first offer?
The first offer is not bad.
Yes, the first offer has me a bit intrigued.
So that was giving up 41 and what, a third?
Next year's third.
Which ultimately...
I don't think that's terrible.
I would not like to give up the third, but you can get some of these third-round picks and comp picks depending on how things go.
Is there a chance he falls to 4? Like they're saying?
Possibly. It kind of depends how these teams feel about the quarterbacks. Like what's going to happen?
Travis Hunter could go 2, right?
Travis Hunter could go 2. He could go 3. So the CBS mock has Shedeur Sanders going 2 to Cleveland.
Wait, is he one of the most curious questions going to the draft where he's going to be drafted?
I was just watching on ESPN, and Orlovsky was talking about it. I obviously couldn't hear it. I believe Mel has Shedeur Sanders as his top-ranked quarterback in this year's draft.
Over Ward.
I believe Mel does. I think that's exactly what I saw on the screen. Listen, I would consider the first. If you believe Abdul Carter is, because I got to be honest with you, I have watched some of the other guys. I haven't watched Jalen Walker as much. I watched Mikael Williams. I watched Shamar Stewart. I watched another kid, the kid James Pierce, the edge rusher from Tennessee, who's built like a safety. He's by far the quickest I watched.
What about Carmen and Yurko today? We're talking about Mike Green, because I believe in the CBS one, when the Bears do trade up for the second overall pick at 10, and Cleveland takes Mike Green, who is also, they were talking about he's got a pass rusher who's got some red flags. What are those red flags? Carmen never alluded to that.
I'm not 100% sure. I have not watched him yet. I've watched several others, but
people have off-field questions for him.
He's from Marshall, correct?
Yes, from Marshall.
There have been a lot of great players coming out of Marshall, too, in the NFL.
Let me see. He's 6'3", 251. He led the FBS in sacks. He had 17 through 2024. Don't know enough about him. Maybe I'll watch him, too. I got some guys to watch. But I would consider the first, if you're convinced that he's going to be a difference-making player, then I'd be, again, I'm also still open to sending pick number 39 or 41 to the Bengals for Trey Hendrickson and then paying him.
Here's the, this is from the Wikipedia page that you always know is up to date.
Of course.
But this is just for what it's worth. It says Green has twice been accused of sexual assault. Once when he was in high school, a second time while he was at the University of Virginia. Green was suspended by Virginia in 2022 before entering the transfer portal. However, he has denied that his decision to transfer was due to allegations against him.
Yeah, I don't know enough about his situation other than what you just read to me. Can't imagine that he will be drafted in the top 10. But
do you have something too on Hampton, the running back from North Carolina?
No, I don't. But
So I forget who it was, but I've been reading some stuff and hearing some people say that he is now, like, I don't know how true this is when they say someone is charging up the boards.
there have been people, a couple of people, that think he's every bit as good as Ashton.
Yeah,
Jeanty.
and like I for wherever I read saying this could be a possibility even for the Bears at 10. That this is a kid who grew up not far from where Ben Johnson grew up. He obviously played for Ben Johnson's team at North Carolina. He fits, like you said, more of the skill sets like a Jahmyr Gibbs.
No, I don't think so. He's 6 foot 221. I don't believe he's got that breakaway speed. The kid I like is Trevion Henderson from Ohio State. That kid, to me, similar size, similar skill set to Jahmyr Gibbs. Marion Hampton is more of a bigger back.
Okay, every down back.
Yeah. He's more of the.
But he catches the ball though too, doesn't he?
But if you watch him on film, Tyler, you probably saw a bunch of him.
Yeah.
He gets in the open field and doesn't necessarily pull away from people.
No. He's almost like a little like David Montgomery. Like, you know how Montgomery didn't have the breakaway speed? He could get to the second level, but
Really
he wasn't going 30 yards.
Yeah.
But to the Gibbs point, though, like, people didn't think Jahmyr Gibbs was going to be the 12th pick.
Right.
Like, it was mind-blowing at the time when that happened, because it was like, whoa. There was talk, could he be a first rounder? And then all of a sudden at 12, that was kind of unheard of.
Listen, if you told me they were going to trade the 39th pick of the draft to move up to draft Abdul Carter, and then they could circle back with their other second-round pick and pick up Trevion Henderson, and I could tell you that
that's a win.
You're going to have Abdul Carter and Trevion Henderson in this year's draft, I may wet myself.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to be sitting next to you then. I would pay to see you wet yourself, though, just for the for the content.
I have to be convinced that Carter is healthy and has Micah Parsons' capability.
All right, will you go this far? If the Bears do get Abdul Carter, now, though, this is a long shot. Abdul Carter and
Trevion
Henderson, will you purposely wet yourself at Soldier Field?
No, I'm a 58-year-old man who's got 4 daughters that don't want to see their father do something like that.
It would get a lot of views.
I'm good. I'm out on that. I don't need to see that.
I
don't want to see Waddle wet himself.
I mean, all you see is the pants get wet. It is quite funny to see a grown man wet themselves.
One of the guys I split tickets, my Cubs tickets with, he had to wet himself. He works at Barstool. He had to wet himself on camera.
See, that's what I want. Come on now, Waddle. How much do you not like the Bears now?
That has no correlation.
You bled for the Bears. Why can't you pee for the Bears?
Could, but I'm not going to.
Did you ever pee for the Bears?
I did never. Well, in what manner?
In game?
No, I never peed myself in a game. I have, though, peed on the sidelines during a game where you couldn't get back to the. Did that in high school or in college, not the NFL.
Why? This is an honest question.
Why don't they have
a porta potty?
They should.
Why doesn't every sideline have a porta potty? Or do they?
It's a great question. No, they
put
don't.
in the tent.
Put in the blue tent. Yeah.
Yeah, like you could have another blue. You could have a blue tent and a yellow tent, like a yellow/brown tent. And in the yellow/brown tent, they enter. You know, the man's going in to go to the bathroom.
I have no idea.
Padres tent.
Yeah, I think it should be standard.